I enjoy playing characters who go through many humiliations in life. It's something I look forward to. In fact, when I look at a script,
If you love a good rom-com where there's an element of everything from romance to laughter to empathy, down to drama in its pure form, then you would agree that the movie There's Something About Mary fits perfectly into this description. Join us today as we discover 20 weird facts you didn't know about the 1998 movie There's Something About Mary. Number 20. The character Warren was surprisingly based on a real person. Isn't it bizarre to discover that our dear Warren was based on an actual person? Warren's character was indeed based on Warren Tashian, the older brother of the Farrellys' childhood friend. Surprisingly, Warren Tashian himself appeared in the movie as Freddie. In the film, Warren is seen as a neurodivergent character whom Mary is very protective of in the face of mockery. The movie uses Warren for comedy, but he isn't the main target of mockery. Warren is portrayed as someone who is uncertain about strangers and is sensitive about his ears. The character Warren is played by William Earl Brown. William Earl Brown was born on September 7, 1963, in Golden Pond, Kentucky. He is an American actor, screenwriter, producer, musician, and songwriter. William Earl Brown earned a bachelor's degree from Murray State University, then moved to Chicago, where he received an MFA from DePaul University Theater School in 1989. On television, he is best known for his portrayal of Dan Doherty on the HBO series Deadwood 2004 to 2006. Aside from acting, William Earl Brown also writes and performs with the country music band Sacred Cowboys. Number 19. Who would have thought that Diaz was actually in a serious relationship during filming? If you love real-life romance, especially between your two favorite stars starring side by side in a rom-com, then this fact would leave you grinning from ear to ear. Cameron Diaz and Matt Dillon had been a couple for 3 years when the movie was in production. They met in Minnesota when shooting Feeling Minnesota and Beautiful Girls, respectively. Sadly, the two broke up shortly after filming ended. Cameron Michelle Diaz was born on August 30, 1972 in San Diego, California, to Billy, an import and export agent, and Emilio Diaz, a California oil company Unocal foreman. Cameron Diaz has an elder sister, Chimene. Her father's family is Cuban, and Diaz's forebears had moved from Spain to Cuba. Cameron Diaz stated that her direct Spanish ancestors were originally from Cadiz. Later, they settled in Ybor City, Tampa, Florida, before moving to the Los Angeles area where her father was born. Her mother has predominantly English and German ancestry. Cameron Diaz was raised in Long Beach and attended Los Cerritos Elementary School, then Long Beach Polytechnic High School, where she was a schoolmate of Snoop Dogg. She recalled her upbringing as frugal, stating, "I had amazing parents, they were awesome. We weren't privileged, very much the opposite. My family would collect soda cans to turn in for extra money because $20 meant something to us, but we were delighted." While attending high school, Cameron Diaz signed a modeling contract with Elite Model Management at age 16 and appeared in Calvin Klein and Levi's advertisements. The following year, at age 17, she was featured on the cover of 17 magazine's July 1990 issue. Diaz also modeled for 2 to 3 months in Australia and shot a commercial for Coca-Cola in Sydney in 1991. Cameron Diaz has received praise for her supporting roles in Cameron Crowe's Vanilla Sky 2001 and Martin Scorsese's Gangs of New York 2002. She also had greater commercial success in the action comedy Charlie's Angels 2000 and its 2003 sequel, as well as voicing Princess Fiona in the Shrek franchise since 2016. After she starred in 3 successful comedies in 2014, The Other Woman, Essex Tape, and Annie, Cameron Diaz retired from acting to focus on her family, but returned to the profession with the action comedy Back in Action in 2025. Aside from acting and modeling, Cameron Diaz is also a writer. Cameron Diaz has written 2 health books, The Body Book 2013, a New York Times bestseller, and The Longevity Book 2016. Her personal life has drawn media attention throughout her career, mainly regarding her relationships and fashion choices. In 2015, Cameron Diaz married Good Charlotte guitarist Benji Madden, and they have 2 children through a surrogate. In the movie, Cameron Diaz starred as Mary Jensen, an orthopedic surgeon who becomes the obsession of several men. She previously lived in Rhode Island, but was forced to change her last name to Matthews and moved to Florida to avoid a stalker. Number 18. We didn't get a sequel. The Farrellys said no. If you ever wondered why There's Something About Mary never got a sequel, especially after its mind-blowing reviews, here's why. According to Peter Farrelly, 20th Century Fox wanted a There's Something About Mary 2 or something more about Mary, but the Farrelly brothers felt a sequel wouldn't make sense. Now we know who to blame. Number 17. Tucker was played by a famous British comedian. There's Something About Mary that housed a great legend, Lee Evans. Famous British comedian Lee Evans starred as Tucker in the movie. Tucker was the English architect friend of Mary's, who was Norm. He was a pathetic American pizza delivery man. Lee John Martin Evans was born in the Avonmouth suburb of Bristol on February 25, 1964, to Irish mother Shirley Hunt and Welsh father Dave Evans. Lee Evans has an older brother. His father was a comedian, musician, and impressionist. The family left Bristol in 1975 and moved to Essex, where Evans attended the Billericay School. After boxing and 2 years at Thurrock Art College in Essex, he followed his father into entertainment. During his early teenage years, he moved to Scarborough, North Yorkshire, where he was a drummer in a punk rock band called the Forgotten Five. Lee Evans co-founded the production company Little Mo Films with Addison Cresswell, who was also his agent before Cresswell's death in December 2013. Evans was the 2011 recipient of a Special Contribution to Comedy Award at the British Comedy Awards and has been called Great Britain's most successful comedian. Evans became one of the United Kingdom's most popular stand-up comedians, with his Roadrunner tour grossing £12.9 million. In the movie, Lee Evans starred as Tucker Norm Phipps, a pizza delivery man who meets Mary while delivering her a pizza and becomes obsessed with her. He adopts the persona of Tucker, a British architect, and gets his back injured to become one of Mary's patients and get closer to her. Norm hides how his injury has healed. Number 16. The movie starred many actors and actresses who were related by blood. Aside from starring legends and celebrities, one weird fact about this movie is that it also featured families. Bobby Farrelly's wife, Nancy, starred as the woman who asked about class actions, while the Farrellys' parents played Docky and his wife. Cameron Diaz's father was on set one day, and the Farrelly brothers also decided to include him in the film. He starred as one of the inmates when Bob Stiller was released from prison. Diaz's father was the long-haired prison inmate. The Farrellys also used many of their friends as extras in the film. Who would guess that the parents of the producers starred in the movie? Isn't it weird? Number 15. Cameron Diaz had to go back to her old high school to prepare for the film. As revealed earlier, Cameron Diaz was an alumnus of Long Beach Polytechnic High School where Snoop Dogg attended. That place was more than a school to her after she chose to return there in preparation for the movie. She was said to have returned to Long Beach Polytechnic High School to remember how to be a teenage girl for the prom flashback scenes at the movie's beginning. And that is weird indeed. Number 14. A few actors were considered for Pat Healy. We all know Matt Dillon as Pat Healy in the movie, but he was never the first choice. Bill Murray, who had co-starred in the Farrelly brothers' film Kingpin, was brought up as an option for the role of Healy. However, Peter and Bobby thought he was too old. Vince Vaughn and Cuba Gooding Jr. were also in the running, but Matt Dillon got the role. How exactly would they have even considered starring Bill Murray? Matthew Raymond Dillon was born February 18, 1964. He is an American actor with various accolades, including a Screen Actors Guild Award and 2 Independent Spirit Awards, alongside nominations for an Academy Award, a Golden Globe Award, and a Grammy Award. Matt Dillon was raised in a close-knit Roman Catholic family of Irish descent in Mamaroneck, New York, by homemaker Mary Ellen and Paul Dillon, a portrait painter and sales manager for toy bear manufacturer Union Camp. Paul Dillon was also the longtime golf coach at Fordham University, having been enshrined in the school's Hall of Fame in 2019. Senator Dillon is the second of 6 children with 1 sister and 4 brothers, one of whom is actor Kevin Dillon. His paternal grandmother was the sister of comic strip artist Alex, the 20th creator of Flash Gordon. In the movie, Matt Dillon stars as Pat Healy, a private investigator who becomes obsessed with Mary and quits his job to pursue her. Number 13. Jonathan Richman is an important role in the film. It shouldn't be surprising that the Farrellys love cult musician Jonathan Richman, because why else would someone like Jonathan Richman star in a movie? Aside from Lee Evans, Jonathan Richman is another legend who graced the cinema. The Farrellys took their love to a new level in this movie by starring Richman. He appeared as the narrator and provided music to the film as well. That included writing the title song for the movie. Jonathan Michael Richman was born on May 16, 1951, into a Jewish family in Boston, Massachusetts, and raised in Natick, Massachusetts. Jonathan Richman began playing music and writing his songs in the mid-1960s. He is an American singer, songwriter, and guitarist. In 1970, Jonathan Richman founded the Modern Lovers, an influential proto-punk band. He became infatuated with the Velvet Underground, and in 1969 he moved to New York City, where he lived on the couch of their manager, Steve Sesnick. He then worked odd jobs and tried to become a professional musician. After he failed, he returned to Boston. When I was a teenager, I thought I would be a painter, and then sound overtook me. I made up songs because I had to. I needed to express how I felt, and that's still how it is. It's just what I do. I do it when there's no audience. I do it when there is an audience. And when I paint, that's how that is too, he once said. After breaking up with the original Modern Lovers in 1975, Jonathan Richman moved to California to record as a solo singer-songwriter with the independent Berserkly Records label. His first released recordings appeared on 1975's Berserkly Chartbusters compilation, where he was backed by members of Earthquake and the Rubinoos. Then he formed a new version of Modern Lovers. Jonathan Richman was recognized as a progenitor of the punk rock scene in the United Kingdom, and several of his singles became hits. Roadrunner reached number 11 in the UK singles chart, and its follow-up, the instrumental Egyptian Reggae, made number 5 in late 1977. Egyptian Reggae was a version of Jamaican musician Earl Zero's reggae song, None Shall Escape the Judgment. Zero was credited as co-writer on Richman's later versions of the track. Number 12. Fake puffies were used in the film. We do not know what inspired the Farrelly brothers to star a puffy dog in the film, but they sure did have to improvise to make their idea a reality. They couldn't ask Slammer the dog to do everything they needed Puffy to do in the film. There's something about Mary went through 6 puffy dolls while making the movie, and we still do not know why to this day. Number 11. Ben Stiller pronounced Favre's name wrong on purpose. Even though Brett Favre's last name is spelled like that, it is pronounced as Favre. Most sports fans know that, including Ben Stiller. There had been a rumor that Ben Stiller had said the name wrong unintentionally, and it was kept in the film. But then the Farrellys did script that line because they thought it was funny. Benjamin Edward Mira Stiller was born on November 30, 1965, in New York City and raised on the Upper West Side of Manhattan. His father, comedian and actor Jerry Stiller, was born to Ashkenazi Jewish parents who had emigrated from Galicia in Poland. His mother, actress and comedian Anne Mira, who was from an Irish Catholic background, converted to Reform Judaism after marrying his father. While they were never a very religious family, they celebrated Hanukkah and Christmas, and Stiller had a bar mitzvah. His parents frequently took him on the sets of their appearances, including The Mike Douglas Show when he was 6. He considered his childhood unusual. In some ways, it was a show business upbringing, a lot of traveling, a lot of late nights, not what you'd call traditional. His older sister Amy has appeared in many of his productions, including Reality Bites, Dodgeball, A True Underdog Story, and Zoolander. Ben Stiller showed early interest in filmmaking and made Super 8 movies with his sister and friends. At age 9, Ben Stiller made his acting debut as a guest on his mother's short-lived television series, Kate McShane. In the late 1970s, he performed with the New York City troupe, NYC's first all-children's theater, playing several roles, including the title role in Clever Jack and the Magic Beanstalk. After being inspired by the television show Second City Television while in high school, Ben Stiller realized he wanted to get involved with sketch comedy. Ben Stiller attended the Cathedral School of St. John the Divine and graduated from the Calhoun School in New York in 1983. He started performing on the cabaret circuit as an opening act to the cabaret siren Jaden Wong. Stiller then enrolled as a film student at the University of California, Los Angeles. After 9 months, Stiller left school to return to New York City. He made his way through acting classes, auditioning, and trying to find an agent. In 2018, he directed the Showtime limited series Escape at Dannemora, earning a Directors Guild of America award and 2 Primetime Emmy Award nominations for Outstanding Limited Series and Outstanding Directing for a Limited Series. Since 2022, he has directed and executive produced the Apple TV Plus series Severance, earning 4 Primetime Emmy Award nominations. In the movie, Ben Stiller starred as Ted Stroman, a magazine writer still infatuated with Mary after missing his chance with her as a teenager, and he did not mispronounce Favre's name on purpose. Number 10. Cameron Diaz played 2 roles in the film. You may disagree with this fact, but it is true. Although you won't see Cameron Diaz in her second role in the film, she pulled double duty. While on The Tonight Show with Jay Leno, Cameron Diaz said she played the body part inside the hitchhiker's bag. Number 9. The Farrellys made the movie as if it was the last movie to be produced by them. After producing a hit movie, Kingpin, the Farrelly brothers figured they would only get to make one more movie. So they set out to write an over-the-top, absurdist take on a cliché-ridden romantic comedy, which Bobby Farrelly has described as When Harry Met Sally meets Blazing Saddles. Oddly enough, this technique led to Raging Bull being so beautiful, Martin Scorsese poured his heart and soul into it, assuming it would be his final work. There's something about Mary was a box office smash, so the Farrellys got to keep their career path intact for better or worse. Peter Farrelly and Bobby Farrelly, collectively referred to as the Farrelly brothers, are American screenwriters and directors. Together, they have made 11 films, mostly comedies. Peter John Farrelly was born on December 17, 1956, while Robert Leo Farrelly Jr. was born on June 17, 1958. They were born in Phoenixville, Pennsylvania, raised in Cumberland, Rhode Island, and of Irish descent. Their mother is Marianne, a nurse practitioner, and Robert Leo Farrelly, a doctor. Peter Farrelly graduated from Kent School in 1975 and from Providence College, where he studied accounting. In 1986, he earned a Master's in Fine Arts from Columbia University, while Robert Farrelly is a graduate of Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute, where he entered the school on a hockey scholarship. Following college, the brothers pursued careers as television writers, notably for Seinfeld. Their films use slapstick and toilet humor and are often populated with blunt, profane, working-class characters in minor roles. Many of their films contain flashback scenes that show how a character was affected by a traumatic event. The brothers are also noted for their soundtracks, which typically feature distinctive selections of classic and contemporary power pop and folk rock songs. They have been praised and critiqued for using the subject of disability in their films. Peter Farrelly has commented, "The problem is not that we look down on these people, but rather that we look up at them and feel that they are better than us. We revere them." Number 8. Dropping Ted's stretcher was not on purpose. You remember that scene where Ted drops from a stretcher? Well, that was real. As Ted is taken away on a stretcher, the paramedics drop the stretcher as they load it into the back of an ambulance. This might seem like a visual punchline, adding insult to Ted's injury, but it was a genuine mistake. The crew cut as soon as it happened to ensure Ben Stiller was okay, but they played off the fall when they resumed filming. This wasn't Ben Stiller's only injury during the shoot. He also hit his head on the chair leg when Puffy attacked him. Poor Stiller, but those incidents added a little color to the movie. Number 7. Chris Farley auditioned to play Warren. The Farrellys wanted Chris Farley to play Warren, Mary's brother. Unfortunately, Chris Farley had to turn the movie down because his health quickly deteriorated. According to W. Earl Brown, the actor who ended up playing Mary's mentally challenged brother, the Farrellys initially brought in comics to audition for the part. It all came full circle for Brown. He had lost out to Farley in an audition to join the Second City Improv Group years earlier. Christopher Crosby Farley was born in Madison, Wisconsin on February 15, 1964, to an Irish-American family, and grew up in Maple Bluff. His father, Thomas John Farley Sr., owned an oil company, and his mother, Marianne, was a homemaker. He had 4 siblings, Tom Jr., Kevin, John, and Barbara. His cousin Jim is the chief executive officer at Ford Motor Company. Farley attended parochial schools in Madison, including Edgewood High School of the Sacred Heart. According to Joel Murray, a fellow Second City cast member, Farley would always make it to Mass. Many of his summers were spent as a camper and counselor at Red Arrow Camp near Minocqua, Wisconsin. He graduated from Marquette University in 1986, double majoring in communications and theater. Influenced by John Belushi, Chris Farley was widely known for his physical performance comedy and athleticism, similar to Curly Howard and Roscoe Arbuckle. This was significantly used during his time on Saturday Night Live and continued through many of his films. From his early acting days and through the height of his fame, Farley struggled with obesity, alcoholism, and substance abuse. He died of a drug overdose in 1997 at the age of 33. Number 6. The Farrellys retouched a few dialogues from an unproduced Seinfeld script. The dialogue between Ted and Mary about how there aren't enough meats on sticks was recycled from a Seinfeld script that the Farrellys wrote but never produced. They still liked the dialogue, so they included it in this movie. The brothers' only produced Seinfeld episode was Season 4's The Virgin, the events of which directly impacted The Contest, which is widely considered to be the show's finest episode. Number 5. Cameron Diaz raised her concerns over the hair gel scene. Cameron Diaz was concerned that the audience would be too disgusted by the physical gag to laugh, which could ruin her acting career. With those concerns in mind, another version of the date scenes was shot without anything in her hair. Once the viewers at a test screening heartily laughed at the scene with Ted's product in Mary's hair, Cameron Diaz was okay with it. Aside from the gel scene, Ben Stiller couldn't figure out how his character wouldn't feel what was hanging on his ear. He even went so far as to suggest that it be written somewhere that Ted had somehow lost sensitivity in his ear, but he was told to stop thinking about it. The hair gel scene was filmed at the Cardozo Hotel, while Churchill's Pub was used as a strip club for a scene with Healy. The makeup effects were the handiwork of makeup effects designer Tony Gardner. Number 4. The zipper gag was based on a true incident. One of the most famous gags in There's Something About Mary, second only to the notorious hair gel mix-up, is Ted getting his Franken beans stuck in his zipper. This scene was based on a real-life incident in which the Farrelly brothers' parents had to help out a kid who'd gotten his genitals caught in his zipper at one of their sister's parties. Furthermore, Mary's stepdad was inspired by the Farrellys' father, who would pull similar pranks on their sister's dates. Number 3. Most of Jeffrey Tambor's stuff was cut out of the film. Even though he's in only 2 scenes, Jeffrey Tambor gets prominent billing in the film. That's because much of Sully's story was cut from the movie. If you buy the DVD with the extended cut, you can see all the Sully stuff removed from the final cut. According to the screenplay and deleted scenes, after Healy pressures recovering drug and alcohol addict Sully Jeffrey Tambor into drinking a beer, he falls off the wagon entirely and gets eaten by his pet python. Jeffrey Michael Tambor was born on July 8, 1944 in San Francisco, California, the son of Eileen, a homemaker, and Bernard Tambor, a flooring contractor. He grew up in a conservative Jewish family with roots in Hungary and Ukraine. Jeffrey Tambor graduated from Abraham Lincoln High School and San Francisco State University, where he studied acting and then received a master's degree from Wayne State University. He is an American retired actor who is known for his television roles such as Jeffrey Brooks, the uptight neighbor of Stanley and Helen Roper in the television sitcom The Ropers 1979 to 1980, as Hank Kingsley on The Larry Sanders Show 1992 to 1998, amongst many others. Jeffrey Tambor starred as Sully, Healy's friend and contact in Miami. Number 2, Keith David put in a lot of work into his dialogue. Keith David ad-libbed a lot of his dialogue in There's Something About Mary, included his iconic line about a can of whoop ass. Aside from Keith David, Brett Favre also came up with his line, "I'm in town to play the Dolphins, you dumbass," because he didn't like the lines that were written for him. Keith David was born on June 4, 1956 in Harlem and raised in Corona, Queens, New York City. His mother, Dolores, was a manager at New York Telephone, and his father, Lester Williams, worked as a payroll operations director. He initially intended to become an actor after playing the Cowardly Lion in a school production of The Wizard of Oz. He went on to study at Manhattan's High School of Performing Arts. He then attended the Juilliard School's Drama Division 1975 to 1979, Group 8. where he graduated with a Bachelor of Fine Arts degree in 1979. Keith David is known for his deep voice and screen presence in over 400 films, stage, television, and interactive media roles. In July 2025, Keith David was selected to receive a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame in 2026. In the movie, Keith David played the role of Charlie, Mary and Warren's stepfather. Number 1. The original script was supposed to have an extremely dark ending. The original script for There's Something About Mary had an ending much darker than the conventional conclusion to the story that appears in the final cut. Instead of going with the traditional happily ever after ending like every normal rom-com, there was originally a moment right after Mary chose Ted out of her gaggle of romantic suitors, after which Ted was hit by a bus. But for some reason, the Farrelly brothers chose to stick with the ending we all know. Ted arrives with Brett Favre, Mary's ex-boyfriend, who was dumped after Norm lied about him insulting Warren. Ted declares Brett should be with her since he is the only one not to use deception to win her over. After reuniting Brett with Mary and leaving the other men defeated, a heartbroken Ted leaves in tears and insists that he wants Mary to be happy. When she says, "I'd be happiest with you," they kiss. Magda's boyfriend uses a sniper rifle to attempt to shoot Ted for kissing Mary, as he is also infatuated with her. Luckily not. The bullet hits one of the nearby band members who had been narrating their love story. There's Something About Mary is a 1998 American romantic comedy film directed by the Farrelly brothers, who co-wrote the screenplay with Ed Decter and John J. Strauss. The film was directed by Peter and Bobby Farrelly, who had previously made Dumb and Dumber in 1994 and Kingpin in 1996. The movie features Cameron Diaz as the title character, while Ben Stiller, Matt Dillon, Lee Evans, and Chris Elliott play men who love Mary and are vying for her affection. Besides Ben Stiller, actors Owen Wilson and Jon Stewart were considered potential candidates for the role of Ted Stroman. Vince Vaughn and Cuba Gooding Jr. were also considered for the role of Pat Healy. Because the Farrelly brothers were fans of the New England Patriots, they originally wanted to cast quarterback Drew Bledsoe as Mary's football-playing boyfriend. Still, he could not do it due to a mosh incident in a club. The Farrelly brothers later offered the role to Steve Young, but he turned it down due to the film's coarse nature. Ultimately, the role was given to Brett Favre. According to Bobby, the scene where Ted accidentally gets his scrotum stuck in his pants was inspired by a real incident when their sister was listening to some records with some 8th grade students in the basement of their house. One of the kids went up to the bathroom and he zipped himself up. He was there for a long time. My dad, a doctor, had to go in and say, "Hey kid, you all right?" Most of the film was shot in Miami, Florida. The Big Pink restaurant is where Healy meets with Sully, and the Miami-Dade Cultural Center is the location for the architecture exhibit that Mary and Healy attend together. There's Something About Mary was released theatrically on July 15, 1998 by 20th Century Fox. It received generally positive reviews from critics who praised its humor and Cameron Diaz's performance. It is placed 27th in the American Film Institute's 100 Years, 100 Laughs, America's Funniest Movies, a list of the 100 funniest movies of the 20th century. In 2000, readers of Total Film magazine voted There's Something About Mary the fourth greatest comedy film of all time. Upon its release, There's Something About Mary ranked 4th place behind Armageddon, Lethal Weapon 4, and The Mask of Zorro, collecting $13.7 million during its opening weekend for a total of $17.8 million from its first 5 days. During Labor Day weekend, the film reached the #1 spot, making $10.9 million and beating Blade. There's Something About Mary was 1998's 3rd highest grossing film in North America and the 4th highest grossing film of the year globally. The film made $369 million worldwide on a budget of $23 million, with $176 million coming from the US and Canada. It was released in the United Kingdom on September 25, 1998, and topped the country's box office for the next 2 weekends. There's Something About Mary was released on VHS and DVD on August 3, 1999. 4 years later, a new 2-disc collector's edition DVD release premiered on July 1, 2003. On May 5, 2009, the film was officially released on Blu-ray. Rotten Tomatoes reported that 84% of 88 critics' reviews were positive, with an average rating of 7.1 out of 10. The site's consensus reads, "There's something about Mary proves that unrelentingly, unabashedly puerile humor doesn't necessarily come at the expense of a film's heart." Metacritic gives the film a weighted average score of 69 out of 100, based on 29 critics, indicating generally favorable reviews. Audiences polled by CinemaScore gave the film an average B+ grade on an A+ to F scale. Roger Ebert gave it 3 out of 4 stars, stating, "What a blessed relief is laughter. It flies in the face of manners, values, political correctness, and decorum. It exposes us for what we are, the only animal with a sense of humor." Gene Siskel ranked the film number 9 on his 10 best films of 1998, the final best of list before his death. What do you think about Mary? Did the Farrelly brothers do a fantastic job? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to this channel for more interesting content. Before you go, watch the other videos on your screen.